all of the most successful ones are where they are, not because they're, particularly smart or have some amazing, talent. All of them went through really big obstacles. The difference that made them successful is they just kept going through those obstacles. They didn't kind of just give up.
Would you like to win and achieve success at what you do? Welcome to the Winner's Ways podcast, where we create winners every day. And now, your host, the author of Winner's Ways book and life coach, Bola Alabi.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Winner's Ways podcast. It is awesome to have you guys join us. And today I'm excited because we have a very special guest with us. We have Luke Charlton. Luke is joining us all the way from Australia. So it's exciting to have Luke on the show today. And Luke, this guy is a business coach. And to those people that are struggling to attract clients, you are going to want to listen to this show today because Luke is going to teach us, coach us, and tell us how to attract high-paying clients. So everyone, let's bring in Luke. Hey, Luke, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Bola. How are you going?
I'm doing well. It's good to have you join us today. Thank you for coming on the show. So, Luke, you said that you know how to help coaches attract high-paying clients. But before we go into that, I want you to introduce yourself to my audience so that they can know you.
Yeah, so as Bola just mentioned, my name's Luke. I live in Australia. I've been helping coaches and service professionals get clients since about 2013. So almost a decade now. In the beginning of my journey, I was very terrible getting clients for myself. I did more copywriting at the beginning of my journey, but as opposed to specific client attraction. But yeah, in the beginning of my journey, I was not good. I struggled a lot. I actually moved to London in 2013 because I thought that by living in London, there'd be more opportunity to attract clients because more people live there. But it was very, very hard, and I failed miserably and had to move back to Australia and ended up living with my nan because she was the only one that would let me live with her rent-free. And that started my journey in business on learning, how it's not as easy as maybe not easier or as simple as what I thought it was going to be. And so through that, I started basically, just through my own trial and error, learning from some amazing mentors and some very terrible mentors, how to attract high-paying clients. So what I use advertising, so Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and email are my two kind of areas of expertise. So using those two to get high-paying clients. Yes, that's a very, very brief overview of my story. I can kind of go into any area of that if you want to.
No, that's awesome, Luke. You've been doing this for close to a decade, and you mentioned rightfully that you learned on the journey. You made some mistakes initially, but now you are an expert. And that's why
I still make mistakes, just not as many.
No, that's why you are on this show today. I bring in people, you share your experience with us. There are some people out there, they are just getting started. Some are more experienced, obviously, than yourself. Some are also making some mistakes that you have made in the past. There's no perfection. We all got to learn and get better and improve. I saw one of your article on Six-Figure Coach. You said there is a secret to getting more coaching clients. I want to learn that secret from you.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are the secrets for attracting more?
Yeah, my secrets are, I think that's quite an old article, that my secrets are actually So actually, it's funny I mentioned London because one of the reasons why I failed is big, and this is what a lot of coaches and service professionals do in the beginning, is they chase all the bright, shiny objects, right? So one week there's one guru saying, oh, you've got to do webinars. And the next week there's another guru saying, no, you've got to do Facebook Messenger. The next week, another guru says, no, you've got to be doing Facebook groups, and, on and on it goes, right? And so what I was doing in the beginning of my journey was bouncing around from different strategy to different strategy. And I was always thinking the reason why I'm not successful is because I'm not using this latest funnel or this latest online marketing strategy, when the reason why I was failing had nothing to do with that. It was because I didn't have the fundamentals in place. So the way that I approach marketing and what has enabled me to now be successful is that I don't focus on any of those bright, shiny guru funnels anymore. So I run ads for clients. So I have an agency as well. And some of my clients do some of that fancy stuff, and I actually can do that. But for my personal business and for when I teach people, I actually just focus on simple fundamentals. So the stuff that's actually not that sexy, it's actually quite boring, but it's what gets results. So you're saying, like, what are the secrets, right? Well, they're not really secrets. They're just the fundamentals, and they will actually make you succeed. So for example, the first fundamental, and this is what makes a your marketing campaign convert, right? And this is where so many coaches in particular, other service professionals, don't really think about. But when it comes to your business, right? Business is really simple. You've got a problem, like a market with a problem, and then you've got the solution. Like, that's really all business is, and they give you money for that solution. Very, very simple. But sometimes we forget about the market, people paying us, and we're just so entrenched in our own solution, excuse me, that we forget we don't really know, or don't try to communicate what makes our solution valuable in terms of what the market really wants. So for example, another way of looking at the market is they have a problem, right? You've got a problem and a solution. Mm-hmm. So when we go to market, we want to speak to that problem. That's a really simple fundamental. So a really simple example of that is, so I've got a client that I run ads for, and she helps couples who are going through infidelity. So one of them has cheated. Sorry, excuse me. One of them has cheated, and she helps reconnect the marriage. But the problem is, right, infidelity. Like, how do you save that marriage after infidelity? Right. And her solution is, I will help kind of reconnect the marriage after infidelity. But that's a really obvious example. It's like, you've got the problem of infidelity, and here's the solution. Another example is, a coach has no clients. I will help them get clients. But for whatever reason, when we go to market, we don't actually speak to that specific problem, that burning, bleeding neck, really painful problem, because we're so focused on our solution that we forget to talk in our prospect's language. So one of the things that I get my clients to do in the beginning is just pick a problem. Like, it's really that simple. Like, what problem are you actually solving? Because you'd be surprised how many service professionals don't actually communicate the problem that they're solving for their market, because they're so focused on their own service and their solution, all the benefits and all the cool features and stuff. And that's great, but we have to also remember we're actually selling that to someone. And if we're not speaking in their language, they're not going to see the value, and they're not going to buy. So the first fundamental is, what's the problem that you're solving? So that's step one. Again, it's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it's so important, right? Then the next one is, okay, now that we got clear on the problem, that painful problem, and the more pain, the better, right? Mm-hmm. So an example problem could be, my lid has broken on my thermos here. That's a problem. Not that painful. I just buy another $20 thermos. Right. But infidelity, right? That's a very painful problem. It affects all areas of your life.
That's correct.
The point is, the more pain, the better. Because you'll get paid more. Mm-hmm. So that's step one. And then step two is, okay, what's your offer to solve that problem? The stronger the offer, the more you're going to get paid. So her offer for the infidelity one is, I'll help save your marriage within 90 days. That's her offer. Mm-hmm. Now I have another client. So she helps people launch their own e-commerce store. Okay, so the problem that she solves is people that want to start their own business, right? Want to get more income or whatever. And now her offer to solve that is, I will help you build, I will build you an e-commerce store that brings in $10,000 a month within 90 days, or you get a complete refund. So that's her offer. That's the offer. Because again, people get the offer confused with, they think the offer is all their coaching, or they think their offer is their accounting services, or they think the offer is all these deliverables, right? That's kind of part of the offer. But the actual offer is, what's the result that you're promising? Again, very simple fundamentals. So you've got the problem that you're solving. What's that painful problem? Then you've got, what's the offer? What's the result that you're promising in relation to that painful problem? That right there, what I've just described, is 80% of your success as a coach, as a service professional, whatever it is. Like, once we get those two things right, then whatever strategy we use is going to convert. It doesn't matter if that goes in a webinar, or if that goes in a 5-day challenge, or if that goes in some type of group strategy or whatever. We have to get those two things right. So that's kind of like the two key fundamentals to selling any service, but particularly high price services, is just getting those two things right. That's, if I'm working with a client and we just get those two simple things right, then they don't have to be amazing at copywriting. They don't have to be amazing at crafting a good message. It's just like, if they're speaking to a painful problem and they've got a good offer to solve that problem, it's 80% of your success right there. And I wish I knew that, what I just described just then. I wish I knew that when I was starting 10 years ago.
Look, that is awesome. I'm into sales myself. One of the lessons that I've learned is that you need to understand your customers' pain. And that's the problem you spoke about. If you don't understand the customer's problem, you will not be able to offer them the solution that they need for that problem. And I like what you said about the offer. The offer is the result. What is the customer going to get by paying you? So people need to communicate this clearly. And that's a way to, the fundamental principles that will help people, businesses to attract and grow their client base. So let me ask you, look, I see that you spent $250,000 on Facebook ads. Maybe not Facebook alone, on ads.
No, I spent $16 million on Facebook ads. So that's $200,000 a month. Yeah.
That's a lot. So how do you help clients? Do you help them with the initial business conception stage, whereby they are putting their offer, telling their story, or you just, hey, this is my website, you just help them to run ad, or how does it work with you? What's the process?
Great question. So the process for most clients that I work with is, those are the first two steps that we take them through, is like, what's the problem? Step one, that's the first module of my program. Then step two is, what's the offer? That's the second module. And I coach them through that as well. And then from there, as I said, once we get that right, then, you can do a complex strategy if you want, but why would you, when you can do a simple one and get similar, same results basically. So what I do is I just keep it very simple. Once we have the offer done as a second step, then we can start generating leads. Okay. Now, that for me, the simplest, quickest, fastest way to generate leads is you could kind of go into Facebook groups and start messaging people, or you could go to networking events. And I did all of that, especially in London. I went to a networking event like 5 nights per week in London, just because you could go to a networking event that many times. Did not get one client from any of my networking. That's how terrible I was back then. And that's kind of doing all these free organic strategies is what led me to advertising. So for me, the fastest way to generate leads, like once someone comes into my program, we can pick their problem, get their offer done, and be generating leads within 30 days. Like when I say leads, email subscribers, like quality email subscribers. Now, the simplest way to generate leads, like the quickest way, is just by advertising a free guide. Another word for it is like a lead magnet. You may have heard that term before.
Absolutely.
But the challenge is, there's probably some people listening now saying, oh, I've advertised a free book before, an ebook or a guide, and this is what I see over and over again is that, coaches will come to me and I'll say, oh, free guide doesn't work anymore. Lead magnets don't work anymore. And I take a look at what they're advertising or what they're using to generate the email subscribers. And it's bringing totally the wrong leads. And so you can't, the lesson is you cannot just give away any free guide. It has to be very specific to your dream client. So what I show my clients how to do is how to attract the right people onto their email list, right, with the right free guide, and then repel everyone else. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that you're only getting the right people onto your list that have the motivation and the money to invest. So it's critical that the free guide that you give away gets the right leads. And most people who have a free guide, it gets the wrong leads onto their list. And then they think that, oh, lead magnets don't work, email doesn't work. It's like, no, you're generating the wrong leads, and that's why your emails aren't working. So it's very, very critical that you give away the right free guide that gets the right dream client onto your list.
The other thing that you mentioned, Luke, was that you can help people to generate this paying clients by sending just one email every day.
Yep.
How does that look?
You're one step ahead of me, right? So once we start generating the leads, right, we just advertise the free guide, right? So
free guide.
Advertise the free guide. Again, it has to be the right free guide. Very critical. Now you're getting email subscribers, and because if you're advertising, that's just on autopilot. Like right now, while I'm talking to you, Bola, I'm generating leads with my advertising while we're speaking. So that's what I love about advertising, and it's very quick. So now you're getting people on your email list.
Mm-hmm.
Now the way that you generate appointments, you start sending them emails. Okay. Now, again, a lot of mistake that people make with email is they think that what makes email convert is the copy, right? They think they have to have this amazing content, and you have to have content in there, but that's a very small percentage of the sale. Okay, so what makes your emails convert is the offer at the end, right? What's the offer? We spoke about in the very first 2 steps, right? You got your problem, and then you've got the offer. So if you get that right, then all you do at the end of your emails is you speak to that problem, right? You speak, and here's my offer to solve that problem. So if you've got the right offer, that's, and you put that at the end of your emails, that's what will get you the appointments. Okay. So another way of saying that is, if you've sent emails before and they haven't converted, it's one of 2 reasons. Generally, you've got the wrong leads on your list. Right? That's number 1. So you're giving away the wrong free guide. Number 2, the offer that you have at the end of your emails is just not resonating with the list. So you could have the right leads, you just have just an offer that's kind of lackluster, not that appealing, and so it's not getting the appointments, right? So actually, usually it's a combination of both. It's like the wrong leads and the offer is not that great. So that's why coaches come see me, because they need to get the right leads and fix up their offer. But yeah, once you get the right offer, then you can start sending regular emails. Now, to answer your question, so for me in the beginning, when I'm working with clients, we just do a 30-day email sequence. So it's 1 email per day for 30 days, and we just get that converting first. For me personally, I send an email per day every day. And the reason why is because the more I email, the more clients I get, basically. However, if you jump on my email list, you'll see the way that I email is quite different to what most people are used to. They're not emails that are just pitching, or they're not emails that are just totally full of content. We all have one of those folders where it's like, this is great content, I'm going to move it to the read it later, right? The read it later folder, like the content folder. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger with all these emails that we're going to read later, but then we never really get to it. So you don't want to send emails that are full of content, right? That's what your program is for. So Ian, if you get on my list, you'll see that the emails are very enjoyable to read. Like the emails that I get feedback all the time saying how much people, enjoy and love reading my emails. And these are marketing emails. Each email has a call to action to book a call with me to join my program, but it's just done in a very, very soft, non-salesy way. But there is always that offer at the end, that offer that I know that converts. But the point is, when you're sending emails that people enjoy reading, you can do a lot more of them, right? And then if you do a lot more emails, you're sending out a lot more offers, you're getting a lot more appointments. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Now, when you talked about lead magnet, are you referring to maybe creating a landing page or something like ClickFunnels?
Yeah, ClickFunnels is like the software, right? That's one example software that you can use to set up a landing page. There's lots of others. There's lead pages. There's a lot of options to go, but ClickFunnels is probably the main one. So to promote your free guide, you need some type of website page. Another word for that is an opt-in page or a landing page. Just a place where people can give you their name and email address, and you can then deliver the free guide via an email, once after they opt in. So yeah, it's literally like just 2 pages, and that's all you advertise. So you just advertise the free guide in an ad, and you send people to that opt-in page. It's a very simple strategy.
Okay.
And that's how you generate leads. Yeah. So that in terms of the technical side, that's all it is. It's just two pages, your opt-in page and then the thank you page. So the page after. Yeah. And that's it. That was my business from 2016 to 2020. That's all I had was just those 2 pages for my whole business.
That's cool. So what else? Oh, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, no, I didn't have any other proper website or anything. I didn't have like a blog or a contact me or anything. It was just that. I have that now. Only got that set up about 18 months ago, but yeah, for like 5 years, it was just an opt-in page, basically my whole business.
And with that, you are creating your funnel and you are attracting email address. Then you start nurturing the email list, basically.
Yes, that's exactly right. And then each email has an offer to book an appointment.
That's awesome. So what are some mistakes that you see maybe business coaches or professionals make with email campaigns?
Yeah, that's a good question. So number one is that they don't email enough. Excuse me. Yeah, I see that often it's usually like once a week, maybe twice a week. And because they're not, then generally it's because they're not getting a good response from their emails, right? And so they don't want to annoy their list. It's like, and so, my thought is, if your emails annoy people, don't send them at all, right? You shouldn't be sending emails that annoy people. Like even if it's once a week, right? You should, because I say, look, you need to be sending an email every day, and they're like, oh, I don't want to. People unsubscribe and it'll annoy them. It's like, well, why? Why would they unsubscribe if they're enjoying your emails? It's generally because they're not enjoying their emails and they're not getting appointments from them. So we need to fix that, right? Let's actually start sending emails that people like to actually read and get value from and enjoy and buy from as well. Because once you start sending emails that people actually enjoy reading, then you can send one every day and they enjoy it. They look forward to your emails. If you send emails they don't enjoy, then don't send them even once a week. Okay, so let's start by, yes.
I like your suggestion, Luke, because I also have that challenge. Ideally, what I've heard is that try to send email maybe once per week. You are the first person that is suggesting that people send emails every day. And I feel like every day it may be a little too much. But yeah. I like what you said. If people enjoy your email, then sure, they are going to look forward to it. So that completely makes sense. So the next step will be, how can we write emails that people will enjoy? Because that's going to take some skills, some experience to be able to write emails that people will look forward to, right?
Yeah, not really. No, that's what I teach. So I'll give you the framework right now. So back when I started getting more serious about email, this is after London, and I just wanted a simple system to get clients. I did what most coaches do and most experts is I spend a lot of time on my emails, and I would like send really good content, right? And what I noticed is that people would read my emails for a couple of weeks. I could see the open rates, and then the open rates after a couple of weeks would just like drop off a cliff. So people would just stop reading, even though I was sending them really good content. Right. They just stopped reading. I'm like, it's frustrating, right? Because you're spending so much time on your emails. Why are they not reading, not reading my emails. Where what also frustrated me at the time, because I was like, well, if they're not paying attention to this and this is helpful content, excuse me, what are they paying attention to? And, doing some research, they're spending hours, and it's still to this day, right? Even more so today. They're spending hours every day on social media. They're spending hours like watching Netflix. This is when streaming wasn't even that big back then, but it's much bigger now. So I think the average person spends like 2 hours a day on streaming. And then there's a few hours a day on, social media, YouTube videos. So they're spending hours per day watching this content that doesn't help their life. And my 5-minute email that actually improves their life, improves their business, they're not consuming. So what is going on here? Well, obviously, I'm not doing something right. I'm not giving them what they want. And what they actually want is something that's entertaining, right? Something that is, entertaining, that's enjoyable to consume.
Mm-hmm.
So when I kind of got that in my head, and then I thought, okay, how do I send emails that are more entertaining, that they actually enjoy reading versus just full of content? Because people, as I said, if you just send them straight content, they'll put it in the I'll read it later folder or whatever it is, and they'll never get to it. So what I started to do is I started leading my, again, jump on my list and you'll see me do this. My emails always start with something that's entertaining. And what I mean by that is I'm not a comedian. I'm not like a late night show host or anything like that. But I do have something that we all have. We've all been kind of ingrained to communicate this way since birth. And that is a natural form of entertaining communication, which is telling stories, right? So whenever we communicate with our friends, our family, colleagues, clients, most often we're speaking in stories. How I'm communicating right now is just a story. This whole podcast is like, multiple stories. And we don't kind of think about how am I going to answer this question in this perfect story structure? No, we just tell the story. Hey, yesterday I fell over and, bumped my head, and whatever the story is, right? We don't think about it. We just naturally communicate. So that's what I started doing in my emails. Just started telling stories. So all of my emails, almost all of them, will start with a story. And then from that story, so that's the entertaining part, right? So it could be a story about me, a story about a client, a funny news article that I read. Stories are all over the place. Often I just get them off the internet. Actually, I can give you I can read off an example if you want that we can go through, and it'll show you simply how it works. So that you start with a story, and then once you're into the story, there's going to be some type of lesson in that story. So it could be a business. For me, it might be a marketing lesson or a sales lesson. For my client who works with infidelity, that same story, she could get a story around infidelity, around fixing a marriage or whatever. So one story will have it could be a marketing lesson, infidelity lesson, could be a weight loss lesson. So the point is, so it goes story, then lesson. And now once you're on your topic, you go into the close, like the call to action at the end. So story, lesson, close is the framework that I use. And if you jump on my email list, you'll see me use it over and over again. Story, lesson, close, story, lesson, close. And because the reason why it works is because it starts with something that's enjoyable to read, entertaining, just a story. Again, could be anything. And then the lesson of whatever it is, the marketing lesson, sales lesson, and then the close. Now, in terms of, actually, before I tell you where to get stories from, does that make sense?
Absolutely. I like what you said. Story, lesson, close. That's awesome. That's a great recipe for, attracting, retaining, and, nurturing your list. I like it. I'm going to start practicing that. So thank you for sharing that.
No problem. And where you get the story ideas from, as I said, it could be a news article, could be something funny that happened with your kids, could be a sad story. But the place that kind of, if there's an emotion that sparks within me, like a strong emotion, right? So if it's something within me, if I get angry or if I get frustrated or if I laugh, or if I find something really interesting or curious, fascinating, whatever that thing is, that's the story, right? Because if it sparks a strong emotion within you, it's going to spark a strong emotion within the person that you're communicating it to, right? So that's where I start for my story ideas. So, for example, I was just on there's a mainstream media news site, and that I look at every now and then called news.com.au. And they had an article the other day. The headline was, girl gets put in hospital because she was afraid to fight in front of her boyfriend, something along those lines. She didn't want to fight in front of her boyfriend. She held it in and she had to go to the hospital. And I laughed. I read that. And what I also thought was, it's funny, right? And I laughed. As soon as I laughed, like, that's the emotion. I thought, that'd be a good email. Right. I don't know what the lesson is. I don't know what and at that stage, I'm like, I'm not worrying about the lesson. All I know is, okay, I've got a funny story. I'm just gonna tell that in an email. So you start with the story, like, what's the funny story? What's the sad story? What's the frustrating story? And then you just have a little think about it. It becomes pretty easy once you do it a few times. Yeah. What's the lesson here? What's the marketing lesson? So I just read through the article and came up with the lesson, and then went to the close. So it's it's pretty simple once you get into the habit, and that's how you actually send emails that people enjoy reading and that have a little bit of value without over teaching, because it's just a lesson, and then you go into your call to action. Pretty straightforward.
That's so cool. So look, as we are rounding up and trying to close out here, where can my audience find you?
Probably the easiest thing to do is, you can go to my website. It's lucecharlton.com, but what I recommend is go to 9 email offers. So the number 9email-offers.com, and you'll just see how the system works, right? It's just that's my free guide, the 9 email offers that get clients for free. So just go to 9email-offers.com with the number 9 and opt in there. And you'll see how simple it's just one page, opt in, and then you'll get on my email list, and you'll be able to just check out my emails, and you'll see how the system works. It's very simple. You just opt in, 1 email per day with an offer at the end. Like, that's basically it. And that's all you need to get high paying clients. You don't need anything complex, because once you get the offer right, the problem and the offer, that's 80% of your success right there.
That's cool. So what is maybe one tip that you would like to leave for my audience as they continue to grow and expand their business?
One tip is probably, when we've spoken a lot of strategy in this call, right? So it's more probably a mindset thing, I would say. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds, thousands at this stage, coaches and service professionals. And all of the most successful ones are where they are, not because they're, particularly smart or have some amazing, talent. All of them went through really big obstacles. The difference that made them successful is they just kept going through those obstacles. They didn't kind of just give up and go back to a full-time job or whatever it is. So wherever you are in your business, wherever you want to get to, you can get there. You just have to keep moving forward. It's just about continuing to move forward. You've got an obstacle, you overcome it. Got an obstacle, you overcome it. You're just continuing to move forward. You don't give up, and you'll get to where you want to go. So what I'm trying to say is, the key to success in business, yes, you've got the fundamentals, the offer and the problem. And then from there, it's just about getting in the trenches and continuing to move forward. If you have that mindset, that attitude, you will get to where you want to go. It's just a matter of, it's not if, it's when.
It's when. That's awesome. You just have to keep moving forward. Thank you very much, Luke, for coming on the show. You've shared a lot of important lessons that my audience will find beneficial. I'm going to let you know once we have this published. So thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me on.
This episode of Winner's Ways podcast has come to a close. We hope you enjoy and learn something from today's show. We want you to win and excel in all areas of your life, and we regularly explore and share information with our listeners to empower them to win. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more tips and strategies to help you find the success that you've always dreamt of. And don't forget to rate and review so that we can continue to bring you more podcast episodes to empower you. We will love to have you again next week. Now, keep winning.